a heads up, so that you have the opportunity to leave, but please don't. We're going to try and do something a little bit different. So there's a natural segue between Publica's presentation on D2C, which is also the space we work in as well, but we don't want to really give a presentation. So in the true nature, no criticism of that, it's just we want to mix it up. So in the true nature of a sandbox, we want to try and see if everyone's willing to get a little bit creative and talk to each other a little bit. So we'll tell you a little bit about what we do, and then some ideas we've had around this discussion, some of which has been touched on today, around how everybody always talks about digital or print, physical bookshops or online retail, when actually it shouldn't be binary, we don't think. There's so many opportunities where they should be symbiotic, where they can cross over, cross-pollinate, and benefit from each other. But we don't want to just sit and tell you our ideas. We'll give you 2 or 3 just to get you warmed up a little bit. Then we're probably just going to break into 2 halves in a room, give you some paper and pens, and we want you guys to you all come from book-related things, companies, with different skill sets, different sets of experience, and then just start trading some ideas. And then Njål and I will kind of get involved and prod you and poke you and see if we can get things moving a little bit. Is everyone up for that? Nobody's left? Okay, cool. Right. But our line is, you're staying. You're in the front. You can't go anywhere, Daniel. So this is our strap line. We were happy when we found this for Frankfurt last year. We build success stories. Our play on D2C is largely we build direct-to-consumer subscription platforms, mostly for the biggest publishers in various markets, mostly. I say mostly a couple of times because it's changed a little. In some markets, people still want ebooks. We're predominantly coming from Norway. We're audiobook focused mostly. And then in the pandemic, it changed a little bit where book retailers were coming to us asking for better solutions for how to stay connected to their buyers as well. And we thought this was a nice catch-all line. This is a graphic to display all the types of things where the book readers can go and listen and experience, whether it be within subscription apps or with our beautiful printed products. Carlo and I were having a chat in the middle of a session earlier, telling each other the truths about how we actually like to read. I personally, I don't like ebooks very much. I don't enjoy them, but I love audiobooks and print books. I hope you don't mind me saying, Carlo, you were the other way around. Not a big fan of audio. It's fine with you. But that's why we're here, right? Because we all like different things, but we all love books and stories. So, as I said, print and digital, they don't have to be mutually exclusive. We've already got some examples with some of the platforms that we run across 9 markets now, where this is becoming more and more of a prominent discussion, particularly, actually, as you move east within Europe. More and more often, the publisher may also be a physical bookshop. They may also be a distributor. So then when you speak to them about a platform, their needs become slightly different as we start to progress. And equally, as I said, physical and digital retail, they can coexist and complement. So we're going to get creative, but we're going to share just a few things. This was me in a car in England, Njål driving somewhere far more scenic across, I don't know, around some fjords or something in Norway.
Probably.
And we literally, 5 minutes, we come up with a few things. This is just to get you warmed up. Then we're going to break out. Do you want to give an example?
Yeah, I think the fundamental premise for this is people who enjoy these digital services, they are book readers. They will enjoy books. I think there's a lot of black boxes in terms of data. In this session, let's just pretend they're not there, that we actually have access to that data. Some platforms will have access to that data and will be able to use that in a physical fulfillment of books as well. So that's sort of where we came from. And then in the past, we're working both with retailers, with a physical, with bookstores, and we've been selling digital goods in the bookstores, but we haven't done much of the opposite. But we have seen some really good examples of that happening. So Spotify sells physical goods. They sell vinyl or refer to vinyl sales.
So Enrico, you're like, Have you never had the email? Has anyone had the email from Spotify when it says, I had one, it wasn't true, but I went with it anyway. It said, you're in the top 100 listeners of Guns N' Roses in the whole world, or maybe in the UK. Like, I like Paradise City, Sweet Child of Mine. I'm definitely not in the top 100, but oh wow, for £10, I can have that T-shirt that only 100 people might have. And something happens psychologically. That's Spotify selling, and not selling even vinyl, right? They're selling T-shirts, slip mats, mugs, all sorts, postcards, all sorts.
And in these services, you have all these events that you can act on. So some of those actions can be in the digital realm, but there are certainly some points where you should be able to poke a user to do something and in terms of getting that book physically. So one of the ideas would be, for example, when I complete a book, that would be the best moment for me to gift that book as something for my father or somebody else that I know. So there's these ideas we want to throw around, and we want you to think about which events could be the right ones to act on if we had them. And some of these platforms will have them. The platforms that you provide will have that data. We also will have that data, and we can actually act on that. So I think that's where we're coming from.
We want to give you a free rein, right? Don't feel too constrained by what can and can't happen in the current world. Imagine there are bookshops with freedoms to do things they want to do, physical bookshops, and there's digital retailers or subscription services that maybe the gold dust is the data that sits underneath. And let's just think of a free world where publishers are happy to work this way, bookshops are happy to work this way, and then the idea is to just kind of get creative from it. So, for example, from one of the ones I said in the car was, if you're a physical bookshop that also happens to have an app, imagine that the footfall into your physical bookshop, largely they buy a book and they disappear. You may have them on a database, but what's your ongoing line of communication with them? If you have an app, there's a connectivity of some kind to that reader, and maybe you incentivize them within that app. Maybe there's a discount or the ability to gift to a friend or some free minutes or whatever it might be. Vice versa, if predominantly you're an app with 100,000 users, but you're connected to even 2 or 3 bookshops in some markets, a publisher may have 2 or 3, what incentive can you use from within that 100,000 user base to drive people into that bookshop? And maybe that's as simple as a discount on a certain title, things like that. And then the other one, do you remember in London when we were talking about we know who the superfans are, who reads or listens to everything within a subscription service? Maybe it's as simple as they get the option for a signed edition of a book. Or maybe you could go super deluxe. There's a company in the UK called the Folio Society. Amazing. Some of the books are £75, some are £7,500. But once you know more about the consumption habits of a reader, maybe there's something else that's beyond a T-shirt, but there is a super deluxe something in print for book lovers. So that's it. There's no real rules around this. It's meant to be a bit of fun. Get some of you talking who maybe haven't talked to each other yet and get a bit creative. What it will entail is if there's one person who's more vocal than the rest on each side of the room, if we've got time, it'd be nice if there's just a quick 2-minute feedback from each side of the room.